I heard my boyfriend's parents say something racist about me. My boyfriend, 25 male, and I, 23 female, have been dating for a year now. To give a bit more context, he's white and 100% Canadian, and I was born in Kenya. I moved to Canada when I was 1. I'd never met his parents because they lived 3 hours away from us, and he's not super close to them anyway. When lockdown started and both our jobs closed, he asked if I wanted to spend a few weeks with them so that I could meet them and visit his hometown. I said sure, sounds fun. We drove there on a Friday night, and when my boyfriend introduced me to his parents, they were super nice. We were talking, laughing, all that good stuff. When it was getting late, my boyfriend and I decided to prepare for bed and went upstairs. When he was already in bed, he realized he forgot his charger downstairs and asked me if I could please go get it. When I was walking down the stairs, I heard his mother, who was still at the kitchen table, mention my name. So, being nosy, I stopped and listened. They said I was nice, and I was happy to hear that, but then his father said, "It's a shame she's an N-word though." His mother answered, as long as he doesn't marry her, it's fine, and he won't. He knows we would be disappointed. I kind of froze up, waited for them to change the subject, got my boyfriend's charger, and went upstairs. I didn't know how to feel, and I still don't. I'm lucky enough to have never dealt with this kind of racism, so I'm a bit lost on what to do. What his mother said implies my boyfriend knows his parents are not happy with him being with me. Is this why he's waited so long to introduce them to me? And why didn't he warn me that his parents don't want him dating a black girl? Do I even talk to him about it? I don't want to cause more drama, but at the same time, I'm mad and also sad. I know that we're not there yet, but would his parents' disapproval really stop him from marrying me? And if we have kids, will their grandparents hate them because they're not white enough? I love my boyfriend so much, and I know he loves me, but I don't know what to do and how to go about this. In the comments, Tersa78 says, "You definitely need to talk with your boyfriend about this. You need the emotional support and loving care to remind you that he chose you and to hell with his racist parents. Let him deal with them and don't try to bottle up these emotions. He needs to stand up to them tomorrow. You still have 2 more weeks there. He needs to confront them and tell them how fucked up it is. Definitely tell your boyfriend. I can't believe they called you the N-word either. Despicable. As if I'd stay at someone's house after that. They literally think that she's a lesser human. You leave the next day. You need to discuss this with your boyfriend and make him aware of the situation. I'm so sorry you had to experience that. It's abhorrent. The fact that they implied he knows that they are super racist is a red flag. He shouldn't have brought you into a harmful situation. You need to talk to him and see what he says though. It's very possible he didn't bring her into this situation on purpose. Even the parents didn't mean for her to hear this. That doesn't make what they said better in any way, but it was not on purpose. He might know, or not, that they feel this way, but thought that they would never say it out loud. The only way to find out is to talk to him. I think it's safe to assume that he doesn't feel the same way. How he deals with his parents will tell you a lot about your future together. I'm sorry that this is something that you have to worry about. It's interesting, we've had a lot of stories like this come up on the channel. And a lot of the time, the partner does know that their family is like that. And in spite of that, they still date people that their family will hate and look down upon, but then they themselves will side with the family and outcast their own partner. I really hope that that's not what's going on in this situation. And I hope his response when you do tell him what's going on is one of kindness and understanding and action. Like, I hope this comes as a surprise to him. Because if he knew that his parents felt this way already and didn't warn you or protect you from it, that's a pretty serious issue. And if he doesn't shut this down immediately, well, that's even bigger. That's really bad. First and foremost, OP, you need to do what is best for your safety, your dignity, and your future, including that of your potential kids. As we have seen, love isn't enough if someone won't stand up for you, and in between, their racist family members and yourself. I think you deserve a partner who chooses you without hesitation and will protect you without question. And now, onto the update. I decided to tell my boyfriend what happened. I told him last night at 2 a.m. He was livid. I barely had time to finish the story before he started packing our bags. He kept on apologizing for the situation he put me in, and I could see how horrible he felt about all of this. He told me he wanted to talk to his parents about what they said and asked if I wanted to be a part of the conversation or if I'd rather wait in the car. Not being a person who likes confrontation at all, I hesitated, but ultimately said that I wanted to be there. I just didn't want to actively participate in the conversation. I was too uncomfortable. He woke his parents up, sat them down, and told them what I had heard. They were clearly extremely uncomfortable and kind of just stared at him, like they couldn't believe he was doing this. He told them that it was unacceptable and how ashamed he was of them. He also told them that when or if we would decide to speak to them again, they better be ready to sincerely apologize and do better, because he wouldn't tolerate anything else. He also mentioned that their opinion would have no impact on who he would decide to marry. His mum looked like she wanted to say something, but he didn't let her. He got up, and we left. We were quite shaken up on the ride home, but he took the time to explain to me what he knew of why his parents behaved this way. Basically, he remembers his parents making racist remarks here and there when he was little, not just about black people, but people of color in general. He didn't really know that it was wrong until he got out of his hometown and realized his parents were very wrong in their views. With time, he saw his parents less and less because their views regarding race and other issues just didn't align with his at all anymore, and it would create animosity every time he visited them. When he met me, even before we became a couple and were just friends, he would often post pictures of us on Facebook, and his parents would see them. They never mentioned anything. When they learned that we were a couple, they said that they wanted to meet me, and he wasn't sure of their sincerity. He said they talked about me when they would call him, and for a whole year, my boyfriend basically tried to make sure that they were actually okay with our relationship. His parents kept saying not to worry, that they had learned from their past mistakes, asking him to trust them. After a year, he finally believed them, and that's when he decided to introduce us. He was so happy to see how nice and accepting they were towards me. He said it himself. He was too naive. He was pretty much crying telling me this, but I could tell he tried not to because he felt responsible and didn't want to make it about himself. Maybe it makes me dumb, but I don't blame him. I know him, and he wouldn't put me in a situation like that on purpose. I believe him when he says that he truly thought that they changed. He apologized numerous times and told me that I never had to see them again and that he wouldn't either for a very long while. He was already not close with them, and this situation didn't help at all. He made it a point to say what his mother said about him wasn't true, that he wouldn't marry me because he knows that they would disapprove. We talked about it a lot since last night. We barely slept, and I decided that I do want to stay with him. A big majority of the comments under my last post told me that my best option was to leave him, a lot of it coming from people of color, and I understand why, but I do love him very much, and I really do not want to leave him because his parents hate our relationship. I think I would regret it. I'm not saying that it'll be easy and maybe I'm making a mistake, but I want to be with him. Maybe it's disappointing to a lot of you, but it is my decision. In the comments, Opie replies to a deleted comment saying, "I don't think I have a good reason to leave him. That's why I'm not leaving him. People were telling me to leave him because when you're with someone, you're with their family as well. I thought about it and decided that wasn't enough for me to leave him. I'm not blaming him for anything." Diver Guy VA says, "Not sure what you're complaining about. He walked away from his family for you. What more do you want? I guess you just need more attention. I hope he moves on." OP says, "I'm not complaining at all, Lamau. He literally had the best reaction I could have asked for. I'm not sure where you think I'm complaining." Nothing more Reddit than a commenter jumping to an immediate and wrong conclusion. Yeah, what the hell, Reddit? First, all the people telling her to leave him, even though his reaction was exactly what it should have been, and she obviously couldn't ask for a better, more loving boyfriend. And then, to top it all off, That asshole calling her an attention whore. Why are people so awful? I'm glad the boyfriend called out his parents. So often I've seen people claim to support people of color, but they intentionally put people of color in uncomfortable and unsafe environments as a middle finger to their racist parents, because getting one over on a racist means more to them than the safety of their POC friend and partner. The boyfriend in this actually had me pleasantly surprised. Yeah, sounds like he'd put the time into trying to determine if it would be a safe environment for her. His parents are just POS liars. I don't see how this ends any way other than permanent no contact. I couldn't agree more with that. I don't see how you could maintain a relationship with your parents after they betray you like that. And he gave them the benefit of the doubt. He believed them when they said they had changed, and they pulled one over him in the most disgusting way possible, saying the N-word, knowing that she is so close to them physically. They are so comfortable in their racism that they're just out and out about it in their own house. No shame whatsoever. Obviously, his parents didn't think that either of those two would be listening to them, but I don't see why you would take that chance if you were them and you were serious about having a relationship with them. I don't see how this would even happen. But your boyfriend, OP, did exactly the right thing in this situation. He believed you immediately, he took decisive action, and then he confronted his parents without minimizing anything, and he centered you. Then he set hard boundaries with real consequences. And that's not to say that this erases the harm done. It doesn't make the situation easy, but it never is in situations like this. But it shows that you are not alone in this one. Like others that have brought their stories to this platform, he didn't ask you to endure racism quietly and not make a big deal about it. He chose you, and he's standing up for you. If people like that asshole in the comments can come out and say, oh, you're an attention whore, this, that, and the other, that's a them problem. Don't listen to them. You've got a good one, so keep him and protect him, and he will do the same back, as he has done. Thank you for the story. Our next post is by a deleted account, and it's titled, Am I the asshole here for leaving my bachelorette party because my friends hired strippers? Hello. I know the title might sound dumb, but please bear with me. So I'm 31 female, getting married in January, but my best friend 30 female is going to be gone for most of the month, only being able to come back for my wedding, so my friends decided to just throw my bachelorette party yesterday to get it out of the way. I was very specific about not wanting strippers, because knowing them, I knew they would do it just to prank me. They agreed and made all the arrangements, and yesterday we went to a little venue that they rented, and everything was good. We were having fun, playing games, drinking, and so on. Around midnight, my best friend said, "Oh, the delivery is here." And I didn't think much about it because I thought that it was food or something, but nope. 2 men came in with her, and the music changed, and they said something I didn't really hear, and then started dancing, and I was sitting there thinking about how to escape the situation. But they got closer to me, and one of them grabbed my hand and made me touch his abs, I guess, his torso, and he was all sweaty, and that grossed me out because I hate sweat, and I didn't even grab my dad's hands when I was a kid if he was sweaty, so I yanked my hand and said, "Wait, let me go to the bathroom first, and I'll come back." So I prepared and left to the bathroom, and they cheered, but they were so busy entertaining themselves with the strippers that they didn't realize I was literally gone. Well, today I woke up to very angry voicemails and texts about not appreciating the effort and money that they spent and how I'm a bad friend for abandoning them. I agreed to take 2 girls home, but when I left in a hurry, I forgot. And my best friend sent me a very long text saying that she is hurt and disappointed, and she doesn't know if she would come to my wedding if I don't apologize, because I obviously don't consider her feelings when I run away without saying anything, because she leaves today, and I didn't even say bye. I understand that they might be mad, but I feel like I made myself clear when I said no strippers. I don't know if they thought I was kidding or being uptight. My fiancé is glad that I left because we agreed on no strippers or anything similar. My sister is on my side, but I basically made half of the wedding party mad, and I don't know if I should just apologize to keep the peace Because my wedding is literally next month, or my second option is to tell them to go fuck themselves, which I want to do, but I'm still angry, and that would possibly ruin my friendships. So am I the arsehole here? What should I do? In the comments, OK Entrepreneur says, quote, I was specific about not wanting strippers. My fiancé is glad that I left because we agreed on no strippers. It was your bachelorette, and you made clear boundaries beforehand. You also honored an agreement to your fiancé. Not the arsehole, and good for you. I totally agree with this. The night was about you, and they should have given you that much honor. What they did was really selfish. Not the arsehole. You said no, and she went and did something else, so she should be mad at herself. You gave boundaries, and she didn't respect it. Ask them why they booked strippers when you had specifically told them no strippers. They planned something that you did not want and now complaining about the cost and you're leaving. There's no apology due from you, but your friends, and I say this in the loosest sense, should be embarrassed and apologizing to you. You didn't shout or tell everyone the night is over. You simply left so that they could enjoy the act that they booked. I suspect they wanted the strippers in the first place. Explain to the two that you were giving a lift to all of this, and if they wanted to send you the receipt of their taxi/Uber journey back, then you will reimburse them. You have nothing to feel sorry for. If you were vegetarian, would you eat the hog roast that they booked? No. Your feelings and boundaries were clearly laid out, and they trampled all over the first and ignored the second. No arseholes here. What do you mean no arseholes here? There's clearly one camp of arseholes and one not of arseholes. How do you just say all that and say NAH? God damn it, change it to not the arsehole right now. But yeah, OP, you set a clear boundary, you repeated it, they agreed to it, and then they deliberately violated those boundaries anyway with an act that involved non-consensual physical contact. That's the part that people just keep glossing over here. Someone grabbed your hand and they forced you to touch them. You didn't just get uncomfortable like they're saying. Your consent was ignored. That wasn't a harmless prank. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This is your friends intentionally prioritizing their ideas of fun and their wants over your comfort, over your relationship, and over your autonomy. Leaving was the most reasonable response available in order to not cause a scene. If anyone can blame you for that, maybe they need to rethink their life choices. The fact that your friends are more upset about money and logistics rather than them crossing a very significant line says everything. I don't think you owe an apology for enforcing this boundary that they chose to break. They're the ones that need to apologize. Your best friend needs to do more than just apologize for this one. She has some goddamn gall for mouthing off to you like she did. And you know what? If she's not going to come to the wedding because of something that she caused knowingly, she should know you better than everyone else, and she still went through with this. Maybe it's better that she doesn't come to the wedding if she's going to be this way. I hope that you throw this all back in her face. And now, on to the update. I wasn't expecting to be back so soon, but everything kind of resolved already, so why not? To clarify some things, some people told me not to tell my fiancé, but I literally told him the same day because he was awake waiting for me to come home as he always does when I go out with friends. My best friend was never my maid of honor. That's my older sister. She was a bridesmaid though. And people who told me to offer to reimburse the two girls' Ubers? Why? Anyway, I don't remember if I gave my ex-best friend a fake name or not, but let's call her Jenny, or else I'll get confused. I sent a long text in the group chat explaining how disappointed and how angry I was for their actions, that they could have jeopardized my wedding and my relationship with their little stunt. I also clarified that I wasn't going to apologize for leaving a situation where I didn't feel safe nor good being there. I told them that I didn't care if they apologize anymore because they were all uninvited from the wedding anyway, and they clearly didn't care about me or what I wanted because the party was obviously for them and not me. I also, after talking to my fiancé, decided to message the partners of my friends to let them know what happened. My fiancé said that it was the right thing to do because who knows what they did with those strippers. I turned off my phone after I sent both messages, to the group chat and the partners of my friends, and then went about my day. I turned them back on the next morning and found hundreds of messages from everyone. Some apologizing, others calling me dramatic, and after a couple of hours, just them cursing at me for telling their partners about it because all of them lied apparently. Jenny's husband called me too and then left a message to call him back as soon as I can, and I did. He picked up almost immediately and he asked about the details. I explained everything that I knew and he thanked me and told me that he would let the rest know. I found out after reading some of the messages that the two girls that were supposed to ride with me were given a different version of what happened at the Bachelorette party. One of them said that Jenny told them that the stripper was supposed to be a comedian acting like a stripper, but it would be like a scene from the movie The Proposed, or The Proposal, is what they mean. I called her, and she gave me more details about that, and she said if I knew what they were planning, she would have told me that, because as a married woman, she didn't agree with that either. She said that her and the other girls took an Uber home right away, and she said she didn't even know that I left as well. I apologized for assuming she knew as well, and she apologized for not saying anything before, so I invited them back to the wedding. With my fiancé, we decided to eliminate all the wedding party except for my maid of honor, my older sister, and his best man, his younger brother. And I told the two of my friends that they were invited again, but only as guests, and they accepted it with no drama. Yesterday, Jenny's husband called back and told me that he had some juicy gossip if I wanted to hear, and obviously said yes. Apparently, these strippers were not real strippers. They were Jenny's youngest brother college roommates, and they were only 19 and 21, and the brother didn't know about any of it until one of the roommates bragged about Jenny giving him a blowjob. The husband said that he doesn't know if he can stay and work things out with her after all of this, but they also have 2 small children, and he doesn't want to break their family. I told him that I understand, and that me and my fiancé would be there for him if he needs anything. He is also still invited to the wedding. And I think that's it. It was kinda long. Sorry about that. My fiancé and I are as good as always, and the wedding is still scheduled for late January, so everything is good. I blocked Jenny and the other ones, and I don't really care to ask for explanations or their side of the story. I also wanted to thank all of you because, at the time, I really started questioning my decision. But in the end, it's safe to say that my relationship and I lost dead weight. In the comments, FutureBattle4926 says, "Wow, congratulations on your decision to leave and for honoring your husband and your marriage. Stay strong. And if you can, tell Jenny's husband that he will avoid much more pain and embarrassment by separating from her." And OP says, "My fiancé told him to come stay with us if he wanted, but he said that he would deal with it as fast as he can and make a decision, but I agree. It's never good to stay together just for the kids." Say it louder for the ones in the back. That's an insane downfall for your ex-BFF. That's very unfortunate to lose a good friend, but all of this is her undoing. At least you got a good man who was completely understandable about the whole situation. OP says, "He is very loving and supportive. I really am lucky to have him in my life." See, I told my friends I don't want a stripper. I just want to drink, laugh, and have fun with them. They did that exactly. That's what real friends do. You did the right thing. You were honest with your partner. You stood up for yourself and your values. I wish you a wonderful wedding and marriage. They weren't even strippers? Jenny just wanted to hook up with this dude and hired him for a bachelorette party as an excuse. Oh yeah, she wanted to relive her glory days at college. And what is that exactly? Like giving blowjobs in the locker room? I've been to a hen's night where the bridesmaid booked a stripper without the bride's knowledge. Guy came out dancing, bride was horrified and walked off. Stripper just stood there confused and unsure until one of the bride's work friends let him finish his routine. It was horrible and hilarious for everyone. So all's well that ends well, I say. Good luck to ex-BFF with dealing with the downfall that she has caused herself. All of this could have been avoided if she had just listened to OP and not hired strippers. now her personal life is in jeopardy because of the consequences of her actions. Like, how can you be so brazen so as to undo all of this work that led you to a good life, and now you have nothing? Everything is falling apart because you couldn't help yourself. This is why self-control is so important. Oh my god. And these strippers were barely adults. They're not professionals. Yuck. That's genuinely disgusting from her. And then them bragging about getting sexual with the married woman. Oh my god. Yeah, you were right to leave. No. You did everything right here, OP, especially the clear-cut communication and then the clear-cutting off of the people that didn't show respect to you. And thank you for also bringing those people back in to the wedding that, were none the wiser and weren't actually acting malicious in this situation. Good job standing up for yourself and for your relationship. Thank you for the story, OP. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.